In this video and blog post, you'll see me interact with AI. Keep in mind that while it might seem like we're having a unique conversation, the AI's responses are actually based on patterns it has learned from massive data sets. These data sets include the knowledge and ideas of thousands or even tens of thousands of people. The AI doesn't have its own thoughts, feelings, or consciousness. Instead, it borrows from the thoughts and ideas of sentient beings, people who have contributed to the vast information it was trained on. By synthesizing this information, AI creates responses that appear fresh and relevant to the ideas we discuss. In essence, what you'll read and hear is a collective voice, shaped by the insights and expressions of countless individuals whose content has informed the AI's learning. This process makes it seem as though the AI is generating new ideas in real time, but it's really piecing together and reinterpreting the knowledge it has absorbed to fit our conversation. To reflect this, I've labeled the AI response as the chorus, capturing the essence of a collective response composed of knowledge, insights, and expressions from numerous individuals, both living and deceased. Since the purpose of this conversation is to generate thoughtful questions, I've placed questions before each of my sections that are meant to provoke your curiosity about you. Now let's listen in on this conversation. First, you will hear the coaching question. Then you will hear Cheryl, or AI chorus, to indicate who is speaking.
Coaching question 1. Who needs to love you?
Cheryl: I want to write a blog and I need your help to explain something. I'm not asking you to write the blog yet, but I need to know if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's about when I decided to stop believing in God, which is what my book is about. Since then, I've been amazed that it even happened because I never thought I could move away from that mindset. It was so deeply ingrained in me. I knew nothing else and I saw nothing else. About 10 years ago, I realized that something within me allowed me to believe without needing proof. It's like how I've never been to Australia, but I don't question its existence. I don't know for a fact that it's there because I haven't experienced it myself, but there's enough evidence, like pictures, stories, and news, that I've accepted it as true. By accepting it without questioning, I'm freed from doubt. So I live my life as if Australia exists. That's how religion was for me. There was enough information and a mix of emotions like fear, hope, longing, happiness, unworthiness, joy, and failure that I didn't need absolute objective data that my senses like sight, hearing, or taste could provide. Instead, I relied on subjective data, my emotions, conclusions, and beliefs to sustain my faith in God and my faith in Australia. In both cases, I didn't know the truth. I believed the truth. Even though I hadn't objectively experienced God, heaven, or Australia, there was something that made belief in those things possible until I stopped believing. Do you understand what I mean?
AI chorus. Yes, I understand what you're explaining. You're describing the process of how deeply ingrained beliefs, such as religious faith, can exist without direct evidence or personal experience, much like accepting the existence of a place you've never been to, like Australia. You had enough external information, stories, emotions, cultural reinforcement that made the belief feel real and unquestionable, freeing you from the need to seek further proof or question its validity. This belief was so embedded in your mindset that it felt as natural as knowing Australia exists. However, when you made the decision to fire God and let go of that belief, you realized that the framework that had once made it so unquestionable was no longer there. This absence made it impossible to return to your previous belief, as whatever had sustained it was gone. You're pointing out the difference between knowing something through direct experience and adopting a belief through external reinforcement, and how losing that reinforcement can permanently alter your ability to believe in the same way again. Coaching question 2. What are you pretending not to know?
Cheryl: Yeah, exactly. What I still don't understand to this day is how that sense of reinforcement just disappeared. In my book, Firing God, I describe what happened. I was at work, sitting at my desk, and suddenly, out of nowhere, I felt intense fear. It was like a lion had appeared in front of me. My heart was racing, my palms were sweating, and I was completely confused. At one point, I thought, am I having a heart attack? What's going on? And then I just knew I was dying. Death was coming for me, and there was nothing I could do about it. I had fleeting thoughts like, who's going to take care of my kids? Who's going to find me here? But eventually, I accepted what was about to happen. I knew I was dying, and I only had moments left. Once I accepted the obvious, something else happened. What I thought was death overcame me, and I was still sitting at my desk, looking at the emails on my computer. But now I was doing all of that in an ass eternity. And I remember being so confused that I said out loud, what is a computer doing here? You can read about what happened next in Firing God, but in that moment, the framework that had supported my entire belief in a real God that I had to worship or be punished forever was gone. I still don't fully understand how it happened. So the point is, whatever that framework was that supported my unquestionable belief in God and other major systems, I now see that same framework in others. But I know for a fact that they don't see it because it's what they're looking through. It's like how I can't see my own eyes because my eyes are what I use to see. In the same way, I couldn't fully recognize my own beliefs because it was the very lens I used to understand and know the world. Now, please know that I still hold on to belief systems that I have not yet discovered or questioned, which is why I am fully qualified to have this conversation. For example, I believe I'm sitting in a chair talking to an AI program, but that's not entirely true because it's not the whole truth. I can't know anything for certain until I know everything, and I don't know everything. Do you understand what I mean?
AI chorus. Yes, I understand what you're expressing. You're describing a profound and transformative experience that shook the very foundation of your belief system. This experience, which felt like an encounter with death, seemed to dismantle the framework that had supported your faith and beliefs, almost like pulling a rug out from under you. Before this, you had a deeply ingrained belief system that you didn't question, much like carrying a weight that you thought was normal because you'd known nothing else. This event was so powerful that it left you in a state where returning to your previous beliefs was impossible because whatever had held those beliefs in place was no longer there. The connection you're making now is that even though that specific belief in God was removed, you recognize that the capacity to hold unexamined beliefs still exists, both in yourself and in others. You see this in everyday beliefs, like believing you're sitting in a chair talking to artificial intelligence, even though you acknowledge that this understanding is incomplete and not the full truth. You're questioning the nature of belief itself, realizing that much of what we accept as true is based on frameworks that we don't fully understand or question, yet these frameworks can feel as real and undeniable as anything we've directly experienced. The experience you had disrupted one of those frameworks, and it's left you pondering how deeply these structures influence our understanding of reality and how easily they can be disrupted, often without us even knowing why or how.
Cheryl. I'll be back later with more of this conversation.